What is going on, guys? It is Partial Tripod here, and today I'm going to be playing Space Engineers, and in this video is going to be my first video for Space Engineers, and it's going to be a tour of my completely custom built base called, as you can see, T-Base. And I'm just basically going to go through the base, explaining all the rooms and all that, and showing you around. And also, before we start, this base is on the Steam Workshop, and I will be providing updates for this build. There are a few issues that I will mention at the end of the video that I will be resolving. And also, I will mention a room that is quite empty that you might have some ideas for, but I'll show you that later. So, yeah, this is T-Base. I've been working on this for a couple months now, and yeah, it's been a quite a challenge making this. But yeah, without further ado, let's get on with the tour. So, at the front or back of the base, I call this the front area because, you know, the hangar is usually at the front on a base. We have two button panels which control these hangar doors, which obviously leads into a vehicle bay, or well known as hangar. So yeah, as we can see, as the doors are opening, it's quite small. I'll just wait. Right, just so that noise is gone. It is a quite small hangar, and we probably store maybe one or two small mining ships in here, or maybe one for traveling out into space, and then one for just plain old mining, you know. So yeah, this is the hangar. It is small, as I said before. I'm not sure if I will extend this or make an extended version, but I will have to look into that as time goes on. So, we have got two collectors and two connectors, and they're obviously used for mining ships or ships, you know, you want to access the base or whatever. So yeah, that's that. The main lighting in the base, I will mention now, is mainly spotlights, and I'll tell you that they do suck quite a bit of power, like probably 20 or 30, oh no, 0.20 or 30 megawatts for each room. This room contains 8 spotlights, so yeah, it does use quite a lot of power. And if you go in survival mode, and as I said, 0.20 to 0.30 megawatts, not kilowatts or watts, megawatts, which is quite a lot of power, yeah, you'll see the difference in power usage and how long you've got left for the batteries in the base to last. And I will show you that room next very shortly. So yeah, this is mainly the room. So we've got a button panel over here. So we've got the two button panels at each side of the front of the base for accessing the doors. Number one is the open and close for the hangar doors, compared to the ones out there which have separate buttons for different commands, where this one controls both open and close. Number 2 and 3 I'll get to in a second. Number 4 controls the spotlights in the base, so you can turn them off, so you can, as I said, save power. Now, I'll just put my HUD back on. And number 2 and 3, sorry for the spelling, I am quite bad when I'm trying to build things quickly, whatever, is pressurized door inside room 2. And there are two pressurized room chambers in the space. So yeah, this is a pressurized chamber where you can basically pressurize or depressurize the room to either come into the hangar or go into the next room. And it's red right now because I have not turned on the airtightness mode on in the game settings. So yeah, I'll just turn my suit lights on. And so this button here controls this door over here. If I show you, I think I've already shown you maybe. It closes the door. Number 3 turns the depressurization on for this air vent here, so you can come from like a depressurized environment, so you can go into the next room without wasting all your oxygen, which would be pretty bad. Excuse me. So we'll just close this door. Number 1 controls adapter to open and close it. Number 2 and 3 select the two different pressure modes on the air vent. As you can see, depressurize on and off. As you can see, that's on. If I press off, it's now off. So yeah, so you don't have to go into there and do it that way. Number 4 just controls that door over there, so we'll just, yeah. And so now we'll go into the next room, and this room I call is the power production room, or mainly the power room, or what I used to call it was reactor room, but I'm not sure right now. So yes, you can see a lot of batteries. In fact, there are 115 batteries that I've counted at them. I'm not sure. I've only counted once, but I think there's that many batteries in the base. So yeah, that is a lot of power, and they all hold 3 megawatts each. So if you do the math, you'll probably be able to get a lot of power out of that. And I have seen here that it will take, in survival mode, 7 days until it's fully depleted when everything is running, like the spotlights and all that. When these reactors aren't running. So we have 6 reactors in this base, 2 large ones as you can see, and 4 smaller ones. They can all be controlled by this other button panel here. So number 1 and 2 just do the normal function of turning on and off the reactors. Number 3 and 4, however, number 3 is for these large reactors and number 4 is for the smaller reactors, control the ability to use or not use the conveyor system. So if you're creating uranium and you don't want it all to get shoved into this or these reactors, you can turn that option off by this button panel or by the control seat in the next room. So yeah, now these smaller reactors, they're not used for the power demand. No. In fact, this whole base could probably run off one of these reactors right here, it's so low to the point where you only need one, but I'll put 2 in there just for the sake of it. So yes, there are 4 small reactors, and usually I call them to be backup reactors in case if something goes wrong with these 2 giant reactors over here, but by default they are on, but when you spawn in you can always turn them off so you don't have to, leave that on and all that. So yeah, these larger reactors are mainly the main reactors you use to generate power, and if something goes wrong, like maybe it's a bit busted or broken because someone might have breached into your base, like either blowing up the wall or roof, something like that, and damaging the reactor or destroying it in the process, whatever. These reactors are mainly a backup if you have to disassemble it, because those leaks and stuff coming from these, I think they can cause damage to you, radioactive particles coming out of it. So yeah, not exactly sure, but correct me if I am wrong. So they're there mainly as a backup, but as I said, by default they are on when you spawn the base in. Rightio, now I do want to show a cool feature that I think is pretty sweet, is when you turn the lights off you get this quite interesting light show. It may only be like 2 colours or 3 because I've got the air vent settings turned off. I reckon it looks pretty sick with the lights off, but it's nothing much, but to me it looks pretty cool. With those couple batteries from the power of 115 and all the reactors and conveyors and all that, I reckon it looks pretty cool. But you could just always intrigue your mate maybe if they get surprised easily or whatever. Right, so coming out of this room and heading into this room is the main room in the base. As you can see, there's a lot of programmable blocks and tiles. I'll get to what they are in a second. So we'll start over here. We've got 8 small cargo containers and 1 large cargo container, and this conveyor tubing right here is supposed to lead into this cargo container and connect the whole system up to the conveyor system, but by default I don't have that on. You can put it on there like the right angle, but I think when I update this I'm going to trim that back, because one of the issues is the light here, I'll mention it now, is that it just blocks it and it just makes the whole thing look dark in this corner. It's not pleasant, I reckon, and harder to see things. And you probably wouldn't have realised that that was a conveyor there, but anyways. So yeah, I'm going to trim that back and maybe plug it into this access right here on the huge conveyor, cargo container. And this conveyor system just links the storage cargo containers together. But yeah, I will plug this in by default so that the whole system is connected. But if you don't want to have the whole system connected, you can just grind the thing and keep all the components and all that. You know, it's not hard. Over there we've got one medical bay, as usual in many bases. Two cryo chambers. Gotta have cryo chambers if you're on a multiple online server, because sometimes you can get that huge lag. I'm pretty sure that's what they're used for. Correct me if I'm wrong once more. And also, as you probably would have guessed by now, this button panel controls all the lights in the base except for the hangar, because that's got its own independent switch, but it controls all four rooms over here. So yeah, number one's for the main room lights. If I turn this off, another feature that I quite like is that when you turn the lights on and off, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It didn't work this time. But if you saw before, those lights on the door would usually turn off last, and I think that's pretty cool because then you know where the doors are. But hey, you know, the base is pretty easy to navigate, so you probably won't get lost. But I thought that was a cool feature. You could probably do that with some programming, but I don't want to add more programming blocks. So yeah. Right, the next room is the production room, and this is where all the magic and main stuff happens. So as you can see, we've got a lot of adapters and stuff, and I will go through what this base features. So it has 3 plain arc furnaces, so that's pretty good. 3 assemblers and 3 refineries as well. And all the assemblers and refineries have 2 power modules to increase the efficiency, so you don't basically eat all your energy from the batteries or electricity. You have 1 yield, I think that's a yield module, where it doubles the amount of stuff that you get out of the refinery when you put stuff in there, so you get more for what you put in. And then you got 1 speed module to increase the refining or assembling speed. And as you can see, the same thing, the same configuration on the assemblers, and yeah, so the whole thing is also connected to a conveyor system, plugs into the assemblers. Then down the bottom at the other end of the assembler, you've got a conveyor that connects the arc furnace, and 1 conveyor tube that connects the refineries. So that's pretty good. And we've also got in the base some interior turrets, if you have not noticed by now. If anyone breaches into the base or gets in and starts stealing your stuff from this access point here from the refineries, peekaboo, you got a turret there, so that will start shooting them. And yeah, basically, yeah, there's nowhere to hide easy in this base. It's not really easy to hide, so yeah, unless you hide in here. But I think the turret, no, well, sort of might shoot you, but you know. So yeah, that's the refinery room, all connected to a conveyor system. I'll mention right now another issue is when I was doing the space, I'll actually tell you a nice little defense feature for the space, that it has. The walls and the ceilings are 2 heavy armor blocks thick, so that kind of makes it really nice for keeping off maybe a couple missile shots or whatever when someone's trying to invade you, or try and steal your stuff. It's not that protected though, because like all the styling and that people put on their ships is like got more protection because it's got more blocks, but mine's just a standard pointy edge T, and so it's only 2 blocks thick. And in this room I kind of stuffed it up because, as I showed you in the hangar, oh that's quite dark, in the hangar, that the spotlights were hanging out. You could see the whole thing. And here they're surrounded by heavy armor blocks, because when I initially put this room together and put all the lights and conveyors in, I forgot to make the ceiling 2 heavy armor blocks thick. And this room is probably the most important room in the base, other than the power room, because this is what makes the fuel for the reactors. So this is the most important base, and it's kind of bad when you don't have good protection for this room. So I'm going to fix that in an update, as well as the issue with the tubing over there with the storage containers. And yeah, that's about it for this room. So yeah, I'm going to fix that up. It's going to be a big job to fix this whole base because I didn't realise when I uploaded it to the Steam Workshop that there were a few things wrong. Right, so that's the production room. Now in this room, this is what I mentioned earlier at the video, I think I did, where this room was quite empty. And it is quite empty. It feels large, wasted space, you know. But this is the main oxygen and hydrogen generation room. So we've got one generator, two oxygen tanks, and one hydrogen tank. Um, and yeah, that's about it in this room. And I really want to add some other things in here. I don't know, but I'd really like to see if you guys could post maybe some comments or ideas in the video description or on the Steam Workshop page, because it'd be really nice if someone tells me what would be a good idea to put in here. And please don't say cargo containers, because I've already thought of that, but I think there might be some other things that might be worth putting in here compared to cargo containers, because they hold quite a fair bit. And the same with that large cargo container, that will hold quite a fair bit as well. Rightio, so now it's time to go to the outside of the base. Now, I reckon it's just become sundown, so it's going to be really dark. Yes, it's probably the middle of the night in here in the game, so it's a bit disappointing. Maybe, actually, if that's the sun just peeking over. I'm hoping that sun comes over, but anyways, doesn't really matter. Right, now, the outer defense system. So I've already mentioned that the walls and roofs are 2 armor blocks thick. Another thing is the floor is not. It's only 1 armor block thick, and someone could easily like maybe mine underneath your base, come under here and maybe start cutting this or maybe blasting it, whatever, getting into the base that way. Because A, you don't have turret protection on the outside underneath the ground here if they're mining, and B, the floor is not as thick. So yeah, oh well, thank goodness it's sunrise. Yes, that's good, because then I'll show you those later, those solar panels. So yeah, these, I'm going to fix that so it has more protection on the bottom, because as you can see, it's only 1 block thick, and I think that's pretty bad, because, yeah. Yeah, so now, 2 armor blocks thick. The other thing is we have turrets on the outside, and we have, hang on, let me count, 12 missile turrets, I just counted. So yeah, I can't remember, I keep counting every time, but I keep forgetting as well, so 12 missile turrets, and I apologize again, I have to count these. Actually no, I think there's 17, yeah, 17 Gatling turrets and 12 missile turrets. Oh, I remembered this time, well, one set, but not the second set. So yeah, 12 missile turrets and 17 Gatling turrets, so that should definitely protect your base pretty well, I'm guessing. So yes, by default they are off when you spawn it in case you don't want it shooting at like maybe your friend's base or something like that, just for protection wise. So yeah, rightio. Now while the sun is up, I might as well demonstrate to you the solar generation system. And this basically features these rotors here and the solar panels, and that's why I have these command blocks or programmable blocks and timers. And what I've done is I've got a workshop script, well, I've got a script off the workshop that is called stop rotor on high solar output or high energy output. Something like that. Stop rotor on high solar output or something like that. So yeah, oops, could have died then. So yeah, the script basically tells the rotors to move in all sorts of directions to the point where it actually gets the maximum input from the sun to charge these solar panels and then charge the batteries. When I uploaded this to the Steam Workshop, yes, I had an issue with this. When I turn the so if I come down here, I've made a group called Solar Generation System in the control panel of the base. Man, why do I keep coming out? In the base, and the issue is whenever I turn those on by going here or pressing pressing 8 or going K and turning the group on by this, on or yeah, on or off, it wouldn't work. It'd turn these off and then turn the rotors and solar panels on, but when I turn these on, the solar panels and rotors turn off. So that's not good. It's an easy fix though. All you need to do is turn these off, and then, well, turn these off when the solar panels and rotors are off, because you can tell, because if I turn them off now, you'll see those are off. You would have heard the rotors stopped turning. And if you come up here, you can quickly check, and since the sun is out, these would be generating power, but since they're off, they're not. So all those need to be red, and then basically once they are, and the rotors are off, you can basically go here, press 8, and everything's working, pay presto. But I will upload a update for that, so that it will actually be working completely as it should be. So yeah, that's another thing, but I've got it working now. I just have to do up the update and fix a couple other things as well. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I think if you turn a couple things off downstairs, like maybe the, in the actual base, maybe the lights and stuff and all that, because I think you can get extended time with the batteries if you turn the lights off, like literally. It reduces so much power, like it's not even a joke. It uses so much less power when you turn the lights off, or reduces the power usage. So yeah, that's that, and yeah, I think that's about it. So I'm just going to recall over the issues. So one of them was the light, the floor, the production room, solar panels, and I think that is about it. Oh, the fifth one, the conveyor system. Now, the conveyor system, when I originally did this, I should turn my lights back on. When I originally did this base, I had two different conveyor systems, because I thought that when you had like a huge load on these tubes, like if you added a oxygen generation system, or what I call it over there, in a production room and a reactor room, all the load and stuff from transferring items would probably slow the process down, and I thought that would be the issue. And so what I did is I created two systems, one being the fact that the production room and the reactor room are in one conveyor system, and the other, the just the plain old hydrogen and oxygen generation system. And when I found out that it didn't at all reduce the transfer or whatever, I decided to, at the last minute, like the very last minute, join these two systems together by these two angle blocks or tubing. If you literally break one of these off, it will split the two systems and they will both become completely different. I hope that wasn't something to do with my recording, because I've been having issues with GeForce having a huge lag spike on every now and then. Well, mainly having a lag spike at the end of my videos. So yeah, as you can see, if I go back into the reactor room, there's two different lines that come in through here, and come in here, and there's like two connectors and all that. These were originally for the two different conveyor systems, but since I joined them together, I just left these there. But all the tubing and stuff and conveyors, it's just not... Oh dear, that was a big lag. It's just not economical. It's a waste of tubing and all that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tidy all that up, and then in this room I was stupid to think that if the uranium that was made in the refineries would go to this storage box here, it should all come through here, to the whole reactor system. Sorry for moving my mouse around so much, but yeah, that was not a good idea, because that was not true either. So I'm probably going to get rid of that cargo container, connect this system up to that conveyor there, connect that to maybe that conveyor there. I'm going to fix all this up so it's not all ugly and trashy and all that, because there is just a retarded amount of conveyor systems that is just not needed. So yeah, I'm going to fix all that up, and I'm pretty sure those are all the issues for the base. As I said, I might be extending that hangar bay, but I'm not sure yet. But apart from that, That's about it, and I'll be fixing those in a later update. I'll post the link to the Steam Workshop for this in the description of the video. So yeah, that's the tour of T-Base, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, like this video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it. Um, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I'd love you guys to, because it'd mean a lot to me, sorry. And yeah, and I will see you next time, and thanks for watching.